fight to repeal and replace Obamacare. Today is the Senate's last chance to strike a deal before the 4th of July holiday. White House and congressional officials are skipping their weekly meeting on tax reform to instead work on the health care compromise. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell reiterated the importance of finding a solution on the Senate floor. He said this yesterday.
Under Obamacare, mandates have forced families into plans they don't want or can't afford. Preferred doctors have become less accessible to many patients, and plans have grown less desirable but more expensive. Americans deserve better than that. That's why we're continuing to work hard. Fixing Obamacare's failures and protecting families from its consequences is not an easy task.
Joining us right now is the National Retail Federation's Vice President of Healthcare Policy, Neil Trautwein. Neil, good to see you. Thanks so much for weighing in this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Your reaction, how are small business owners reacting to this health care plan on the table right now?
Well, I think they're a little confused by the process. Washington is, this is the particular soup when they get legislative vehicles done. So I think they're a little confused, but we're looking forward to getting the relief we've sought from the ACA for years.
The Congressional Budget Office is releasing new numbers on the Senate health care bill. So the CBO estimates that Medicaid spending would decline 26% by 2026 and decline 35% by 2036 under this legislation. Is this the way you want to see things moving in terms of as it relates to Medicaid?
Well, I think, and our focus has been on the employer-sponsored system, which covers 178 million Americans. When it comes to Medicaid, I think the Senate will reach a compromise on this, a glide path to adjusting it. But it is a necessary conversation when you consider 3/4 of the federal budget is taken up by automatic spending, by entitlements. It's a discussion they should have, and they'll work out the fine points.
Neil, Mitch Rochelle, when people think about retail, they often think about department stores, but I think of the Main Street retailers. How are the small business owners sort of navigating what the future is going to look like in terms of providing health care coverage for their employees and how the mandate may change all of that?
Well, I think many of these guys will continue to provide coverage whether they're mandated or not. It's a tight labor market, and we're competing for employees. But it is complex, it is confusing. Just the reporting requirements, when you report who is covered and employee and dependent, it's all very paperwork heavy and confusing.
Mary?
Yeah, Neil, is this going to get done?
I think so. I may be the last optimist in Washington, but I tend to think the impetus is here, the mechanism is here. They'll never get a better opportunity to get this done.
I agree.
Do the lawmakers, specifically, Neil, the Republicans, understand that? Because, again, now you're starting to see waffling from some of these Republican senators. Keep the investment tax increase in this health care plan. They want the money so they can, they don't have to cut Medicaid so much. Do they understand the gravity of what they're facing? That if they don't do this, they're essentially getting in line with single payer and Chuck Schumer?
I think there is that danger, but it's they're always the messiest right before they come into order and get things done. So right now they're in the process of settling into order.
How would you characterize the retail environment right now, Neil?
I think retail is strong. We're seeing a lot of tough headlines and closures, but put that in context. That's maybe 1% of the total of retail. So retail is always changing. We're always shifting the balance between storefront and online, but it's not a choice between either one. It's omni-channel, and they all work together.
Well, you see a real difference when you see Amazon taking so much market share, I guess. But, Neil, it's good to see you. Thanks so much for weighing in this morning.
It's a pleasure.
Neil Trautwein joining us there.